Hi, Chris here with 123Muse. Now in this video we're going to show you how to use Lightroom Deck in Muse, and we're going to start really basic. So we're just going to use a blank site, nothing on it, just go to the first page and let's drag the widget onto the page. So we're going to open our Lightroom Deck 1 folder, and we've got the Lightroom Deck here, and let's just drag that onto the page. Now it's been resized to fit the 960 width of the page here, but you can make it as big as you like, and you can even make it full width. You can see here that this is quite a different widget because we're not getting a visual display here of the gallery itself. That happens when we preview, because that happens dynamically when we're actually live. But what we are getting is we're getting feedback to our settings here. So all of our settings that we can adjust here, we've got a quick overview of what's happening in our widget so that we can see all of our settings without having to open up the interface here. So if we click on preview, we can see that the widget goes away and grabs the gallery information and loads them very fast, and straight away we have our working galleries. It's as quick and as easy as that. Now let's take a look at some of the options. First of all, starting at the top here, we've got the hide the photo icons. So those are the icons that sit on top of the albums. We can hide that. We can auto hide the breadcrumbs. So what happens there, if we click that and we preview, you can see that the breadcrumbs are gone until we go into an album, and then they close when we come back out. So you might want that for neatness. We can use photo sets. So if we wanted to just use a particular photo set, then we can do that, or we can use albums. So we can use a particular set of albums. This is really great from a management point of view, because you may have uploaded lots of albums. Some of them may be private, some of them may be public. This allows you to manage which ones are actually displayed by the widget itself. We have our Flickr ID here. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we would do that. So if I go into my Flickr account here, and what is my ID? So if I look at my URL here, I'm seeing chriskeller.com, but that is not necessarily my ID. So I'm going to copy that URL. I'm going to go to a little tool called igetter.com, and if I just paste my URL there and click find, tells me what my actual Flickr ID is. So I'm going to copy that now, go back into Muse, and if I paste my Flickr ID in there and then we hit preview, we can see that it's actually now loading up my albums. So we can see these, here's the album for the raw packs that are available with edition 6 in 123Muse. And we can see all of these different albums that are all to do with me. I mean, how quick is that? Just in an instant, we have access to all of our galleries. Now, what if I wanted to use just a photo set? So let's go back to Flickr. And if we go to albums, and let's just go for this raw pack here. So with this raw pack, let's take a look here. I've got a set here, photo set. I'm going to grab that number there. So after the sets, that number there. And then we will switch on use photo sets, pop the photo set ID in there, and now we can see that just that photo set loads up. And let's just see what happens when we make this full width. We'll also make sure that's on auto. Yep, so that's great. So we can see that the images are now automatically filling the space. These big panoramas are slightly different because they don't fit into the standard Flickr storage, so you've got some black space around there, but that's still, you could manage those. But let's just take a look at some management now. I mean, with that there, let's leave that open. Let's go into our gallery here. Let's go back into our organizer, and we can see that this pano here is right at the beginning of the set. Well, we don't want that, so let's move that down to here, and we'll move that so we've got the motorbike images first. So that's done. Let's hit save there, and then let's just leave it a moment and then hit refresh. Look at that. Now we've moved our images to the bottom. So we haven't touched anything in Muse. we've gone into our album management of Flickr because Flickr has got really good album management. There's absolutely no point trying to manage these albums in Muse. Going in, changing the photos around, all of that sort of thing. We can do it directly online in Flickr with any browser. So, and our Muse site is now updated. So that's really cool. That's really, really useful if you're managing galleries. Let's take a look at some of the other settings that we have here. Let me just minimize this out of the way. So we have our Photosets. Let's switch off Photosets for the time being. We can use our albums. Let's bring this over. I'm just going to switch off full width and just bring this down a bit so that we can see our options a bit easier. Here we go. So we have our Photosets. We've got lots of different ways of sorting our albums and our images. So we can sort them as they are in Flickr. If we leave it on standard, then you can actually rearrange in Flickr the album views and use the arrangement like that, or you can switch to using a particular type. You could use random, so each time it loads up it's got a random set so that it changes the look of the page and so on. Now with the thumbnail width, let's take a look at this now. At the moment we've got on auto width. Now what happens there when we've got auto width switched on is we can see that it automatically creates this layout where all of the images are butted up nicely together, and with their landscape or their portrait it fits them all in, so we get that nice panel, a bit the same kind of way as Pinterest or something like that lays out the images. But we can change that to be our own dimension. So let's switch off auto width and let's change this to, let's say, 150 by 150. Now when we preview, we can see we have this nice square photo set. Let's change the background as well. Let's switch this to a white. Move this more central. There we go. Okay. So now we have our images and they're in nice square thumbnails. So we may want to change the settings like that. We can set a gutter width. So let's put, let's say, a gutter of 10 here. And we can see that we've now got that nice white space between the images. We can also use pagination. We'll come on to that in a minute, so we'll leave that for the moment. Let's go through the other styles. We can change the text where it says open album or view photo. We can change that. We have two themes. We have light and clean. So if we switch to light, you can see that the drop shadow's gone there. But if we change our background to, let's say, just a black here, and we'll change the background fill here to transparent. You can see here now we have this nice white outline for our images. And let's take a look at what else we can do. So we can display the description, we can display that. That's the photo count, is how many photos are in each album. We can choose where we want to display that in the title or in the description. And we can also change the description length for each photo, so that we can restrict that down to keep it nice and neat, and change the next and previous sizes for the images, and we can change the position of the top close button when we're in the lightbox. So let's take a look at that. So if I click on an album here and then click on an image, we can change the positioning of this, and we have another two widgets that will allow us to also control the icons here. So if we don't want these icons, we can change those. There's a lot of flexibility with this widget. So we've taken a look at what the widget can do in its basic format, and we can see that all of the settings that we've changed here have been altered and have been updated in our settings panel here. So this is really useful for being able to see what's going on. Now the Deck ID, what that will allow us to do is apply other widgets in the Lightroom Deck package to add additional functionality to this. So we're going to take a look at that in the next video. So the first thing we're going to look at is the pagination widget that will allow us to control the look of the pagination, especially when you've got large albums and large galleries. So let's go and take a look at the pagination widget in the next video.